cowboy went riding out one dark and windy day. Upon a ridge he rested as he went along his way, when all at once a mighty herd of red-eyed cows he saw, plowing through the ragged sky and up the cloudy drove. Their brands were still on fire and their hooves were made of steel. Their horns were black and shiny and their hot breath he could feel. A bolt of fear went through him as they thundered through the sky, for he saw the riders coming hard and he heard their mournful cry. Yippee-yi-oh, yippee-yi-yeah-yeah-yeah. Ghost riders in the sky. Gone, their eyes were blurred, their shirts all soaked with sweat. He's riding hard to catch that herd, but he ain't caught 'em yet. 'Cause they got to ride forever in that range up in the sky, on horses snorting fire. As they ride on, hear their cry. As the riders loped on by him, he heard one call his name. If you wanna save your soul from hell riding on our range, then cowboy, change your ways today, or with us you will ride, trying to catch the devil's herd.
There's nothing in the world like you and your 22 out in the field just plinking around, whether it's training or just having fun, shooting cans and bottles or steel targets. The 22 is an awesome training round. Great for high-intensity training. You can put a whole lot of rounds downrange without breaking the bank. And what's better than the venerable Ruger 10/22? I love the 10/22. I'll go out and I'll shoot and plink for hours with this thing. Builds great muscle memory and trigger control. And it's cheap. Did I say it was cheap? It's cheap like the budgie. But as always, there's always things you can do to make your gun run better, smoother, faster, more reliable. A lot of people will say, what do you know? You're not an engineer. And you know what? I'm not. Nor do I pretend to play one on TV. With these few simple tricks, this will get your gun up and running in no time. As always, if you're not comfortable with what you're doing, don't do it. And have lots of spare parts handy, because you know what? Eventually, you're going to mess something up. If you don't feel confident, have someone help you. We're going to run down a few of the most common tricks that I tend to like to do on my 10/22s. As always, your results may vary. If you could turn a wrench or change the spark plugs in your car, chances are you probably could do what we're going to show you. So come along and we'll show you a couple of tips and techniques for your Ruger 10/22. Tightening or loosening your main stock screw will also have a big impact on how well your gun shoots with one specific ammo. A good measure to begin with is to start at 14 pounds and work your way up. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all the way up to 20. Experience has shown and most people have found success with the 14-pound torque setting. Remember, this is inch pounds, not foot pounds. Another thing that really shows a lot of success is removing your front stock band. The pressure put on the bore right here definitely has an effect on accuracy, but you want to make sure you take this off and shoot your gun without it. Different guns vary. This tandem cross, two 10-rounders connected, makes a great platform for inserting and removing your mags quickly. But if you don't want to shell out the bucks for this, take some hot glue and take two 10-rounders and glue them together. You'll have the same effect. Every time your 22 cycles around, the bolt comes back and hits a steel bolt stop that's in the back here. You see this? Some people go to Harbor Freight or Lowe's and pick up a 1/4 inch nylon bolt. Cut the head off and insert it until it's flush in the gun. This one in particular has over 1,000 rounds already through it and is showing no signs of wear. Using a piece of Scotch tape over your pins will keep them from falling out upon disassembly. Another quick and easy thing to do so you don't have to fuss and fight with it. The inside of many 1022 receivers are really rough. Take a piece of 600 grit sandpaper and go in there and polish it up. Pay particular attention to the top and the sides. Wherever you see metal rubbing, smooth it out. Feel for burrs along the top side here just to make sure that there's no drag on the bolt in there. You can also polish the top of your bolt. Using 600 grain sandpaper, take and polish this. Make sure you're on a flat surface and just work it. This is the main area. These are the two contact points where it hits the top of the inside of the receiver. So you want those to be as smooth and clean as possible, as well as lubed. A piece of spare paracord can be used as a quick bore snake. Use a lighter to melt the front. You want it stiff. Make a loop to make your cleaning knobs and push them together until you make a lump. Make sure this cools before you pull it through the gun. Make a couple more just like this and you've got a quick and easy way to clean your gun out at the range. Put a couple of dabs of your favorite cleaning solution on the lumps. And you got yourself your own bore snake. Now remember, this bore snake does not take the place of proper cleaning. This is something you want to use at the range just to get out any kind of extra powder residue that you see down your bore. And to make sure your bore is nice and clean. That's it. On standard factory Ruger 1022s, the bolt release has to be depressed in order for the bolt to come forward. But with this modification, you can have it close on its own. Simply remove your bolt release from the gun. And I'm not going to show this on here because there's tons of videos that show you how to disassemble your gun. Take a file and you're going to file this area flat. You're going to remove this notch right here with the file. Sit there and file this so it's straight. This is one you guys are going to have to shell some bucks on. Sorry, but order and install an extended mag release. These things are worth their weight in gold, and for about 10 bucks online, you can't beat it. Short of welding up your own, which would be more than the do-it-yourselfer can do, the average do-it-yourselfer, this is what I would recommend. When lubing up your 1022, do not, I repeat, do not use standard oil or CLP. That's my favorite. I'll use CLP on everything except your 1022. For that, go with the dry lube. I like Ezox or Hornady One Shot. You know, that stuff you use for lubing cases. That stuff will work great also. Stay away from oils. They attract fouling like a magnet, and you will have a lot of failure to fire, failure to extract, and failure to feed issues. To carry your rounds to and from the range, I like these Pelican 1040 cases. Watertight. They've got the nice rubber ring around the bottom. Actually, the rubber ring goes all the way down. These are waterproof, made for camera and digital gear, but they fit 10 rounds of your Ruger stock 1022 mags very nicely. How else to travel to the range in style, already loaded. Why waste time loading mags at the range? Ooh, and did I mention it comes with this really cool carabiner? As a general rule, bull barrels, such as this one in front of you, like to be free floated. Free floated means that nothing touches the barrel from the front of the receiver all the way to the end of the muzzle. A really good way to check this out is the dollar bill method. Run it down the length of your barrel. It should go in with no issues. That's not being said that all bull barrels like to be free floated, but the majority of them do. Many barrels, including the pencil neck, don't like any obstructions or anything touching the barrel along the whole base, which is why we tell you to remove your front band, as that may improve accuracy. But every gun is a rule unto his own. You're gonna have to try it out and see which one works for you. Something else you want to keep in mind is that most bull barrels are match quality. That means that their tolerances are very, very tight in the chamber. That being said, you do not want to shoot CCI stingers in these. CCI stingers are 1/1000th longer. More often than not, the bullet enters the lead of the rifling, raising pressures and increasing wear on your gun. You can use CCI stingers on standard pencil barrels or factory barrels, but stay away from them when you have a bull barrel, otherwise known as a Bent's barrel or match barrel. Another thing that many shooters do to increase accuracy on both bull barrels and on regular factory barrels is to put a piece of leather or a bike inner tube right here on the front of the front stock screw. You gotta practice and you gotta try it out and see which one your gun likes. Sometimes when you buy an aftermarket stock, it doesn't fit your Ruger 10/22 action as well as you would like it to. Some people actually bed their action by using aluminum tape. Apply aluminum tape to the sides and to the bottom here, contact points, and then install it and see how nice and snug it can get. That will remove all your wiggle between your action and your stock. Many times when installing a Ruger aftermarket barrel, people find that the barrel has a hard time being inserted into the Ruger factory receiver. Since the receiver is aluminum, it will expand and contract twice as fast as steel. So by putting your barrel in the freezer and using either a heat gun or a hair dryer, heat up your aluminum receiver, you'll be able to slide one into the other with no issues. And when everything cools, more often than not, it locks up tight. For those of you who experience failure to eject or stovepiping, you may want to try this one. What we did was bevel the base of the bottom of our bolt. You see that? Just a little bit. This is compared to one that's been unmodified. This is one that's modified. We take it to the belt grinder and we just take and we shine a little bit off of here. See? So you can see what they look like. By doing this, you increase the leverage, that is, where the hammer rides along the back of the bolt to be recocked. Over here, it's down low, and on our reprofiled rear bolt, it's up higher, which means better and more reliability. Take and grind right here, evenly out down to here, and you can see the difference in how much material we removed. This is the modified one. This is the one we were just started to modify, the stock one. You can see how much of a bevel we put on here. Well, we hope that our little tips and tricks for the Ruger 10/22 tutorial has taught you something and maybe even inspired you to get out there and do it yourself. These are fun little rifles. Anybody can shoot these things. they're also really, really fun to work on. And dare we say it, we can make them just a little bit more reliable than the factory. If you guys have any questions or comments on what we did or how we did it, or even if you don't feel comfortable doing it, just don't do it. Find someone to give you a hand. Send your comments, questions, and concerns down below. This isn't rocket science, people. We showed you how to do it. You can do it yourself. You don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars on some ubermensch gunsmith and wait 3 to 5 years just to have something run a little bit smoother, do you? I don't think so, which is why we put up this series of videos, which is why we started the channel in the first place. Go back and check out our past playlists, both here on BitChute and on YouTube, until they decide to take us down on YouTube, that is. Till next time, good shooting, be safe. It's a dangerous world out there, people. Carry, carry, carry.
If you wanna save your soul from hell riding on our range, then cowboy, change your ways today, or with us you will ride, trying to catch the devil's herd across these endless skies. Yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yi-yay.